Brett Holmes, you got 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. You got some money to spend in free agency. Not a ton, but a bit. And this is why optimism is so high, and I can only speak for myself, but I like to believe I speak for most Detroit people by saying that the expectation next year is not only to compete, but to win the NFC North. I think that's very feasible. I think it's achievable. And I do believe, from the bottom of my heart, you are going to add a corner in free agency. You're going to add a veteran linebacker in free agency. I do believe you're going to draft a corner as well. I do believe you're going to draft an interior lineman. Now, what round, what pick, I don't know. Do they trade up? Do they trade back? Do they get a quarterback? I don't know. We'll get to all the draft stuff after the playoffs end. But all I know is that I have complete confidence in Brett Holmes to add the pieces necessary to this defense to make it a bit more consistent than what it was last year. Because for the first 7-8 weeks of the season, they were trash. And then for the 8 weeks after, they were amazing. And then they were trash against Carolina. And then they were amazing against Green Bay. So I need some consistency here. And that comes with talent. That comes with experience. Veterans. You're going to get Tracy Walker next year coming back. That'll be a veteran communicator. You're going to have to bring in a guy in the secondary, notably at corner, that can communicate and keep everybody accountable. The secondary, especially the cornerback room, is a disaster. Jeff Okudah has not worked out the way you thought he would, and he's entering his final season. They will not pick up his 5th-year option. That is a fact. You need to address the cornerback position so badly. And whether it's Devin Witherspoon, whether it's my mom, whether it's Broder, whether it's Jeff, I don't care. Just fix it. And I trust Brad Holmes to do that, Jeff. I do. And that's why I'm so optimistic about this team.
Yeah.
Not because, it's the Lions and I want them to do well and it makes me feel good. I don't give a shit. I don't. You know what I care about? Results. You know what I care about? Track record. You know what I care about? Substance. You've shown me that in the draft. You showed me that down the stretch in 8 of your final 10 games. You showed me a top 10 defense for a 7-8 week stretch. You showed me a top 5 offense for an entire NFL season. With a quarterback that many, including myself, doubted going into the season. So why wouldn't I have optimism? Why wouldn't I have confidence? Why? Somebody talk me off the cliff. I don't think you can.
No, I'm not going to talk you off the cliff. I'm going to make you stay on the cliff. And I'll tell you why. The Lions had a stretch of games during the regular season, and you kind of brought this up earlier. But when you beat the Giants on the road, and you take care of business, by the way, hold Saquon to one of his career low in rushing yards, and you pick off Daniel Jones, who hasn't really turned the ball over all year. They did things. They were impressive. They won 31-18. They took care of business. You follow that up Thanksgiving. You play the Bills, a close one at home. You only lose by a field goal. Some decisions in that game weren't a big fan of, but nonetheless, you played the Bills close. You follow that up. You absolutely decimate the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, 40-14. Oh, hold on. Then you follow that up once more and absolutely obliterate the Minnesota Vikings. That 4-game stretch, 4 playoff teams. That's why I don't blame anybody for being optimistic about the Detroit Lions, is because when they're hitting on all cylinders and they're at their peak, they showed this season what they can look like and what they can do. I mean, you were 5-1 in your own division. You almost were 2-0 against the Minnesota Vikings, who won your division, lost in the first round of the playoffs, but still won 13 games. So the Lions, to me, they're building for the long term. Obviously, there's guys that are going to be here for a while, but on top of that, you still have a ton of assets to fix holes on this team. Like, there's still plenty of work to do, and I think that's what makes it so exciting, is because you have Brad Holmes in the kitchen, and he's providing ingredients to Dan Campbell. So at the same time, there's a lot to be excited about. But that 4-game stretch I had to bring up because that shows that means something. I know, 3 of those games were at home, and that's the goal, to win your division and host a home playoff game. But the Lions this year at home, they looked like a different animal. Obviously, Jared looked like a different animal. The offense looked much, much better. And that's got to be the goal next season. If you can win that division and host a playoff game, seeing the results when this team's clicking on all cylinders, they're going to be a threat, Adam, to any team in the NFC. I do believe that.
I agree 100%. And I think what makes me most excited about what you said, Jeff, is there's substance to it, right? It's not just feeling. I felt Dan Campbell was going to work out. The fuck does that mean? Anybody? Now, you can get mad, but the reality is, I'm paid on results. Jeff is paid on results. Okay? Which means, if Jeff shows regression from Q1 to Q4 consistently, we got to talk about Jeff's future. If he's not progressing, if he's not getting better, if he's not delivering the results, this is life. If you work at a grocery store, if your drawer consistently comes up short, you're out of there. Winning matters. Substance matters. And they finally gave you something to hold on to. And I don't think it's bullshit. I don't think it's propaganda. I don't.
No.
I really don't.